Today we gather to honor the famous and legendary people who have left us, to hold their names with care, and to keep their stories alive. Friend, if remembrance matters to you, please like the video and subscribe so more people can join us in honoring them. In moments like this, friend, we move slowly through their stories, not to dwell on loss, but to notice what they built and what remains. These lives shaped screens, stages, and our shared language of feeling. As we begin, we will hold the newest departures first, then walk backward, keeping respect, clarity, and truth as our compass. Pauline Collins. Born September 3rd, 1940, died November 6th, 2025, age 85. Cause of death listed as complications of Parkinson's disease. Pauline Collins was a British actor whose generous, bright presence bridged stage and screen, best known for turning the one-woman play Shirley Valentine into a landmark performance in London and on Broadway, then carrying that intimacy into the 1989 film that made her voice and face instantly familiar around the world. She had already charmed television audiences as Sarah Moffat in Upstairs, Downstairs, and she moved with ease between comedy and drama across 6 decades. Born in Exmouth and raised near Liverpool, she trained at the Central School of Speech and Drama, then learned the rhythms of performance in repertory before television and film widened the map of her career. She married the actor John Alderton in 1969, a partnership that often overlapped on screen and endured off it, and earlier in life she placed a daughter for adoption and later reunited with her, a story she told with clear-eyed candor in her memoir. For Shirley Valentine, she won the Olivier Award for Best Actress in 1988 and the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play in 1989, then the BAFTA Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role in 1990 for the film, along with an Academy Award nomination the same year. Recognition that confirmed her ability to turn small moments into something that lived in the audience long after the credits. Tributes following her death praised her wit, her steadfast kindness to colleagues, and the dignity she gave to ordinary women, a quality that felt both classic and quietly radical. Diane Ladd, born November 29th, 1935, died November 3rd, 2025. Age 89, cause of death not publicly disclosed. As of November 7th, 2025, Diane Ladd was an American actor whose characters carried steel and tenderness in equal measure, remembered for the brash waitress Flo in Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, and for fierce, complicated women in Wild at Heart and Rambling Rose, performances that earned Academy Award nominations connected to the 1975, 1991, and 1992 ceremonies. She grew up in Laurel, Mississippi, in a family with deep storytelling roots, and later noted her kinship to the playwright Tennessee Williams, a lineage of language and weathered feeling you could sense in her work. She married actor Bruce Dern in 1960. They endured the devastating death of their first daughter at 18 months, and the strain contributed to their divorce in 1969. Years later, she married Robert Charles Hunter, a partnership that lasted until his death, and she remained closely bonded to her daughter, Laura Dern, with whom she often collaborated. Her career ran through film, television, and stage, carrying multiple Emmy nominations and a reputation for fearlessness that made her a favorite of directors who wanted voltage without falseness. In the hours after her death, statements from colleagues and family described a generous partner and an artist who prized honesty above decoration and whose craft never drifted from the human center of a scene. She leaves a path for actors who want to make those brave choices without losing the pulse of truth. And a lesser-known fact is that she wrote and directed the film Mrs. Monk, acting opposite Dern in a story that transmuted personal history into art. Leslie Phillips, born April 20th, 1924, died November 7th, 2022, age 98, cause of death, not publicly disclosed as of November 7th, 2025. Leslie Phillips was a British actor whose smooth, quick charm helped define post-war British comedy, from the Carry On films and the BBC radio favorite The Navy Lark, to a late flowering that brought him a BAFTA nomination for Best Supporting Actor in 2007 for Venus, and a run of voice work that made him the sorting hat for millions of Harry Potter viewers. Raised in modest means in North London, he trained at the Italia Conti Academy and learned precision on West End stages while navigating wartime evacuation and early family loss, experiences that taught him how to hold lightness over gravity. He married 3 times and weathered grief, yet he rarely courted controversy, choosing instead to refine a persona he could flip inside out when a director asked for fragility. Honors included an OBE in 1998 and promotion to CBE in 2008. Signs of the broad affection he earned across 8 decades, and the industry met news of his passing with affectionate accounts of a colleague whose timing was surgical and whose courtesy steadied sets. His enduring legacy is a reminder that comedy is exacting work, that a wink and a well-placed pause can be tools of deep craft, not just charm. A lesser-known fact is that away from public view, he could slip back into the Tottenham accent of his childhood, a private note that showed how deliberately he tuned his voice for character. Dean Stockwell. Born March 5, 1936, died November 7, 2021, age 85, cause of death reported as natural causes, Dean Stockwell was an American actor who traveled a 7-decade arc from luminous child turns at MGM in The Boy with Green Hair, Gentleman's Agreement, and Anchors Aweigh, to an audacious adult resurgence that mixed mischief and menace in Paris, Texas, Blue Velvet, and the Oscar-nominated Married to the Mob, while he became a television folk hero as Al Calavici in Quantum Leap. He was born in Los Angeles to performer parents, with his father Harry Stockwell, a Broadway singer, and the voice of Prince Charming in Disney's Snow White, and his older brother Guy, also an actor, a family trade that taught him discipline early. He married and later divorced, raised 2 children, and spent late life in New Mexico, where he pursued collage and assemblage art alongside acting. Honors included the Cannes Best Actor Prize in 1962 for Long Day's Journey into Night, a Golden Globe in 1990 for Quantum Leap, and an Academy Award nomination in 1989 for Married to the Mob, a span that showed how far his craft ranged. The response to his death recalled how he could tilt a scene with a glance or a dry aside, and how he treated work as a curious adventure rather than a stiff ritual. His legacy offers a model for actors who want to mix playfulness with control, and a lesser-known fact is that when cameras were not rolling, he often sketched and built small sculptures, leaving a trail of artwork that matched the restless eye he brought to the set. Alex Trebek. Born July 22, 1940, died November 8, 2020, age 80, due to pancreatic cancer. A steadfast steward of television intellect, he turned Jeopardy into a nightly classroom that valued calm, fairness, and quick curiosity. shaping how millions think about knowledge. Born in Sudbury, Ontario, to George Edward Trebek and Lucille Lagacé, he grew up bilingual and got his start at the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation before moving to the United States. He married Elaine Calais in 1974, and they divorced in 1981. Reasons not publicly confirmed as of November 8, 2025. Then married Jean Couravan in 1990, a long partnership remembered for mutual groundedness during his public health battle. He won the Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Game Show Host multiple times, including a posthumous win in 2021, and held a Guinness World Record for hosting the most episodes of a single game show. Tributes after his death highlighted his consistency, generosity with contestants, and commitment to dignity on air. His legacy rests on curiosity as a daily practice, humility in excellence, and kindness in competition. A lesser-known fact is that he studied philosophy at the University of Ottawa, which he often said shaped his composure and love for precise questions. Jeffrey Palmer, born June 4, 1927, died November 5, 2020, age 93, cause of death not publicly disclosed as of November 8, 2025. He distilled British understatement into performances that felt effortless, from The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin to As Time Goes By, making stillness and a raised eyebrow into instruments of comedy. Born in London to Nora Gwendolyn Robbins and Frederick Palmer, he started in stage management before stepping into acting, where his economy of gesture became a signature. He married Sally Green in 1963, an enduring and private partnership, and he avoided headline controversies across a long career. He was appointed an Officer of the Order of the British Empire in the New Year Honours published at the end of 2004 for services to drama, recognition that matched the affection audiences already had. Colleagues praised his reliability and his ability to let others shine. His legacy is a reminder that restraint can be radiant and that timing can be its own kind of music. A lesser-known note is that his son, Charles Palmer, became a television director, including work on Doctor Who. Michael Crichton. Born October 23, 1942, died November 4, 2008, age 66, due to lymphoma. He bridged medicine, technology, and suspense, turning complex systems into human stakes across novels and screens. From the Andromeda Strain and Jurassic Park to the television series ER that changed hospital drama forever. Born in Chicago to journalist John Henderson Crichton and Zula Miller Crichton, he grew up in New York and studied at Harvard College and Harvard Medical School before choosing the writer's desk over the clinic. His marriages and divorces were publicly documented, generally described as irreconcilable differences, and his life stayed largely focused on work and ideas. As a producer, he shared the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Drama Series for ER in 1996, and he won the Edgar Allan Poe Award for Best Novel in 1979 for The Great Train Robbery. Tributes emphasized how he brought scientific imagination to mainstream storytelling without losing pace or character. His enduring legacy is a blueprint for smart, accessible narratives that respect the audience and the material. A lesser-known fact is that he wrote early thrillers under the pen name John Lang while still in medical school. Howard Keel, born April 13, 1919, died November 7, 2004, age 85, due to colon cancer. With a resonant bass baritone, he anchored classic MGM musicals like Showboat, Kiss Me Kate, and 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, later reinventing himself for a new generation on Dallas as Clayton Farlow. Born Harold Clifford Keel in Gillespie, Illinois, to Homer Keel and Grace Margaret Osterkamp, he grew up during the Depression, working odd jobs until voice lessons opened the door to the London stage. He married Rosemary Cooper in 1943 and divorced in 1948, married Helen Anderson in 1949 and divorced in 1970, then married Judy Magamol in 1970, a lasting partnership remembered for its steadiness. He received a Golden Laurel Award in 1955 for his musical film work, and he later earned a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. After his death, colleagues praised his generosity and professionalism, and fans rediscovered the muscular warmth of his voice. His legacy shows how craft can travel across eras when the performer leads with sincerity. A lesser-known fact is that he once worked as a luggage handler at a Los Angeles airport before his career took flight. Jonathan Harris, born November 6, 1914, died November 3, 2002, age 87, due to a blood clot to the heart. He turned arch mischief into art as Dr. Zachary Smith in Lost in Space, using a precise musical cadence to turn menace and comedy into a weekly duet that children and adults could share. Born in New York City to Sam and Jenny Karasuchin, Russian Jewish immigrants, he anglicized his surname as his Broadway ambitions outgrew his pharmacy training. He married Gertrude Bregman in 1938, a lifelong partnership rooted in the theater community, and kept his public life clear of scandal beyond spirited debates over creative choices. He won a Saturn Award during his career and worked steadily on stage, screen, and voice roles long after Lost in Space ended. Colleagues recalled his meticulous preparation and scene partner kindness. His enduring legacy is the permission he gave television villains to be witty and oddly lovable. A lesser-known fact is that many of the character's most famous lines were ad-libbed by Harris, who carefully negotiated the freedom to polish his dialogues. Jack Kelly, born September 16, 1927, died November 7, 1992, age 65, due to a stroke. He gave Maverick an easy charm and later proved that entertainers can serve their cities, becoming a council member and then mayor of Huntington Beach, California. Born John A. Kelly Jr. in New York City to ticket broker John Kelly Sr. and stage performer Ann Walsh, he grew up around rehearsal halls, and his sister, Nancy Kelly, won a Tony Award, making performance a family trade. He married Joanne Smith in 1969, a quiet, enduring marriage, and any controversies in later years were municipal policy debates rather than personal scandal. Award details not publicly confirmed as of November 8, 2025, his civic record became the recognition many residents remembered. Tributes after his death emphasized vigor, neighborliness, and credibility with voters. His legacy encourages artists to treat public service as a second stage where listening matters. A lesser-known fact is that he also worked as a real estate broker, a trade that informed his views on local development. Gene Tierney, born November 19, 1920, died November 6, 1991, age 70, due to emphysema. She embodied mid-century screen allure, pairing intelligence with cool radiance in Laura and Leave Her to Heaven, the latter earning an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress in 1946. Born in Brooklyn to insurance broker Howard Sherwood Tierney and Belle Lavinia Taylor, she spent parts of her youth in Connecticut and Switzerland before Broadway, and Fox shaped her early rise. She married fashion designer Oleg Cassini in 1941, divorced in 1952, remarried him in 1962, then divorced again in 1963. With the reasons described in memoir and press as personal strains that did not dim their mutual artistic respect. She earned critical honors throughout the 1940s, anchored by that Oscar nomination, and industry reactions to her passing focused on her singular screen presence. Her legacy is a study in poise, the ability to hold a camera's gaze while keeping an inner life intact. A lesser-known fact is that she published a thoughtful memoir, Self-Portrait, in 1979, where she spoke candidly about health, work, and resilience. Irwin Allen. Born June 12, 1916, died November 2, 1991, age 75, due to a heart attack. Nicknamed the Master of Disaster, he orchestrated ensemble epics like The Poseidon Adventure and The Towering Inferno, and he translated that sense of peril into television adventure with shows that families watched together. Born in New York City to Joseph and Anna Allen, he moved from journalism and radio into producing, mastering the blend of budget discipline and spectacle that kept big ideas achievable. He married editor Sheila Allen in 1978, a creative partnership that smoothed story and logistics, and earlier relationships remained out of scandal sheets. He received the Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature in 1953 for The Sea Around Us, then produced works that picked up Oscars in craft categories, cementing his reputation for assembling top crews. Colleagues remembered him as a tireless organizer with a showman's clock in his head. His legacy is the template for event storytelling that respects stunt work and design as part of narrative. A lesser-known fact is that he began his career publishing a Hollywood trade magazine, learning to read trends before making them. Josephine Wilson, born July 5, 1904, died November 7, 1990, age 86, cause of death not publicly disclosed as of November 7, 2025. A British actress who moved easily between stage and screen, she mattered for the warm, grounded truth she brought to supporting roles in films such as The Lady Vanishes and The End of the Affair, and for helping to build artist-friendly spaces in post-war London. She grew up in Bromley, Kent, in a household that prized books, elocution, and confidence, the kind of home that nudged her toward repertory work and a life in performance. She married actor Bernard Miles, a lifelong creative partner who would later be elevated to the peerage, and together they raised 3 children, including racing driver and engineer John Miles, while building a home that doubled as a salon for artists. Their marriage was a working alliance in the best sense, bound by shared purpose and a belief that theater could educate as well as entertain, and any scraps that come with hard schedules never overshadowed their commitment to each other or their audiences. She helped shape programs for families and children and encouraged younger actors, a quieter influence that outlasted box office tallies. Award details are not publicly confirmed as of November 7, 2025, though her reputation among directors and producers functioned as a career-long honor. Colleagues in London theatre praised her generosity after her passing. And friend, her legacy is felt every time a supporting performance lands with surprising emotional weight. A lesser-known fact is that she championed hands-on science shows for kids at the Mermaid Theatre, using experiments to spark curiosity between matinees. Mary Martin, born December 1, 1913, died November 3, 1990, age 76, cancer. An American star of the musical stage who moved through film and television with ease, she mattered for defining the open-hearted heroine in mid-century entertainment, then carrying that charisma into televised specials that brought Broadway into living rooms. Raised in Weatherford, Texas, by Preston and Juanita Martin, she opened a dance school as a teenager, a small business that sharpened her timing, stamina, and sense of what audiences need. She married Benjamin Hagman in 1930 and later divorced, then married producer Richard Halliday in 1940, a marriage that lasted until his death and gave her a steady creative partner at home and on tour. Their son, Larry Hagman, became a television icon in his own right. On screen and in television, her presence was clean and luminous, the kind of clarity that makes a camera relax. She won Tony Awards for South Pacific in 1950, and The Sound of Music in 1960, received a special Tony for Peter Pan in 1955, and was honored by the Kennedy Center in 1989. Achievements that chart a map of American musical storytelling. Tributes poured in from theater guilds, television producers, and orchestras that had shared holiday broadcasts with her, noting a professionalism that never dimmed. Her enduring legacy is a standard of craft that younger performers study, a blend of breath control, diction, and generosity that invites audiences to sing along. A lesser-known fact is that she kept meticulous notebooks on breath counts and phrasing, tiny roadmaps that she updated nightly like a pilot's log.